Welcome to the Triune of Truth Internet TV show. Today I'm excited to share with all of you a friend of mine, Dr. Jay Granat. And Jay, why don't we jump right in and maybe explain to the audience a little bit about what you do. I know that you do some work in sports psychology, but more importantly, you take the stage and please share with our guests.
Okay, well, first off, I'm delighted to be here with my good friend Chuck Berg, who we share a number of common interests, and like me, he works with athletes and is very interested and curious about the mind-body relationships. Yeah. And as he told you, my name is Dr. Jay Granat. I'm a psychotherapist and the founder of StayInTheZone.com. And if you visit StayInTheZone.com, you'd see tons of articles, videos, CD programs, books, etc., etc., etc. And basically that side is intended to help athletes, coaches, and parents of young athletes.
Jay, let me ask you a question. Over the years, obviously, as a psychologist, psychotherapist, you've had the opportunity of working with a diverse group of people. What was it, what intrigued you about the area of sport?
Well, sport, I was always curious about the mind-body relationship. I was curious about what could enable people to lose weight, gain weight, stay motivated. And I was always curious, I played a lot of sports myself and still do, why one day I could be great and the next day I could be terrible. And after I learned a number of psychological techniques and hypnotic techniques and mental toughness techniques, I found that I could help people to perform more consistently. I could help them to get into the zone and to avoid choking on a more consistent basis. So I was very curious about that, and I got a great deal of joy seeing people win national championships, several Olympic gold medalists. So that was really quite exciting for me and quite positive for them.
Cool. You know, I love Jay's site, In the Zone. Now, any of you who either play a sport or have kids in sports, we use this language a lot, like, you know, being in the zone. Or sometimes, Jay, I've heard people comment about, I was like unconscious. And interesting, because this is where you and I kind of connect, where we do understand how important what I call the space between our ears and that implication. So maybe comment for a moment on what does that mean, you know, in the zone, or when someone says I was playing unconscious.
Okay. Well, as Chuck said, the site is called StayInTheZone.com, so it might be useful for your viewers to understand a little bit about what it is and how I perceive it. So you can think of it as a relaxed state of concentration. It's also a state of mind where there's no self-criticism, there's an increased belief that your dreams can become reality. Actions, physical actions, are effortless, automatic, and you're absorbed in the moment, playing, participating, and enjoying the here and now, playing in the present, as we say. So all of those elements, whether they pertain to sport or life, that's a pretty nice mental state. No criticism, enjoying the moment, relaxed, confident, excelling, having your dreams feel like they're real. That's a pretty nice state of mind, whether you're an athlete, an executive, an attorney, what have you. And sometimes by making small mental shifts, we can get people to be in this positive mental state of mind more frequently.
So in other words, obviously there is a strategy, and there are things that you can help to teach a person like myself or any of our viewers how to relax a bit more, being in the moment rather than seeing ourselves necessarily performing in that excellent mode, which is where we want to be. But I know that I find it interesting watching TV, and they say that some of the best coaches, even in the most significant games, whether it be in basketball, be it ice hockey, it doesn't matter. The idea, they always say, guys, go out and have fun. So what are they meaning? What are they suggesting when they're asking them to have fun? In a sense, I'm assessing or sensing that it's like just allow the innate of your body, which has been trained to allow it to do. Is it something like that?
Well, enjoyment is a segue. It's one of the triggers or ways of entering the zone, as is a sense of humor. Now, for the professional athlete, where their income is dependent on their performance, they have a certain amount of pressure, obviously. But for the weekend warrior, obviously, humor and playfulness is quite important. You know, the word recreate is about re-energizing. You know, and using a sense of humor or a sense of lightness. There's a wonderful expression: angels can fly because they take themselves lightly.
Lightly.
Right.
Very cool.
Right.
Very
so
cool.
for many people, humor is a way to lighten up, have fun, and it is a segue into the zone, as is something like music, as is something like a mantra, as is something like an encouraging word from a coach or a loved one or a friend or a teammate. Those can all be triggers that can change a person's mental space just enough to improve the way they feel and to improve the way they perform.
Terrific. So Jay, how about for our listening audience, who would be your optimum client?
Okay. Well, that's a good question, and I think just as I think about my schedule this week was rather interesting. Today I'm meeting with one of the top fencers in the country. He's about 16 years old. He got interested in fencing. It's kind of an interesting story. He saw Star Wars, the dueling scene with the lasers,
Really?
and he was hooked.
That was his trigger.
A little later on, I'm meeting with a college baseball pitcher who's been struggling a little bit. Tomorrow I talk to a professional golfer I work with who's playing on the Asian tour.
Talk about head games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's been over there for several years, and we talk weekly. And it's not easy to make it on the pro tour, and it is very mental. At the pro level, golf is perhaps 95% mental.
Yeah.
I got a call yesterday from a patient of mine, from her mom actually, and she just won a national championship in gymnastics. 12-year-old girl,
Wow.
fantastic, very shy, but I helped her to come out of her shell a little bit, and it was really quite thrilling. So these are the kinds of people I work with. The young athlete, I have a program for even athletes under age 12. It's called Bedtime Stories for Young Athletes.
Oh, how
and I
cool.
teach them, I read stories to them, it's my voice, and they listen before they go to sleep. And it's all about several elements: relaxation, confidence, focus, enjoyment, handling criticism from coaches, etc. And that's really been one of my most successful products. And I think, and Chuck I know because he's big on prevention, if we can teach these mental skills early, teach kids things like meditation, anger management, focusing techniques, if they learn them when they're early, they have them for their whole life. So that's been a very gratifying area for me to be working with the younger athletes.
You know, it's really interesting. Jay obviously works with, again, that space between our ears and something that we call the unconscious. You know, I read a lot of books, Jay. I'm certainly not a psychologist in any way, but I do know that in everything that I read, they tell us that most of our lives we live our bodies 95% unconscious, and maybe only 5% is really in this state of awareness, which is maybe why they're always being told to work towards staying conscious, to be aware, to live in the moment, etc. What's interesting is that in my work in chiropractic, as well as working with the nutritional side of things, I have my little triune: align the spine, eat from the vine, calm the mind. So, folks, if you can see how important all of this is, obviously to Dr. Granat's clients, to my patients, but all of us, it's so important that we look at this. I call it a kaleidoscope, Jay, because life is just filled with multiple quadrants with a lot going on, and it's challenging. So anyway, if people are interested and they would like to reach out to you, please, where do we go to find information about you, address, phone numbers?
As I said before, go to stayinthezone.com. That's all one word, stayinthezone.com. And
your office is located?
I'm in River Edge, New Jersey, but we work with people around the world via Skype and email and telephone and,
Very cool.
of course, face-to-face. Sometimes I travel to events with athletes. And but stayinthezone.com is quite a bit of information there. As I said before, articles, videos, lectures, on and on and on. So there's quite a bit of information. Also, people who want to reach out to me, we have an 800 line, 888-580-ZONE. So either way, by email, info@stayinthezone.com. And you'll get hold of me, and I'll get back to you.
So maybe the next time I go to play golf, and my partner, if he chooses to take his bag and throw it in the lake, I think it'd be a good idea for me to have him give you a call. I think that would work.
Right.
Anyway, Jay, I just want to say thank you. It was
Chuck.
a pleasure, folks. I hope that you can take some wisdom, and anyone that you know who is in the market for trying to learn how to control their emotions, utilize them both in their life as well as in their sport, he's the guy to see. I want to thank you, and until our next program, we'll see you then. Thanks a lot, Jay.